Hi guys, so I wanted to do another movie review. I haven't done one in a long time. I don't know if you saw my review for the Chernobyl TV series, but in that video I said there was a couple of films I wanted to talk about. Basically, I've just been trying to catch up with films from last year. I mean, I've seen a couple from this year, but last year was, I felt, looked like a very good year for films, especially independent and foreign films, which I guess are my main interests at the moment. And there's a film by Hirokazu Koreeda, I always forget how to pronounce his name, called Shoplifters, which came out last year. And it kind of has done very well critically. And Japanese cinema is a national cinema I'm very, very interested in and into. Yasujiro Ozu is one of my favourite directors of all time, top 5 directors for sure. And in many ways, Koreeda is a kind of heir to the kind of Ozu humanity and kind of his portrait of the human condition, especially focusing on kind of the outskirts and kind of sort of lower classes of Japan, I guess, kind of the fringes of society. Shoplifters is a perfect kind of representation of that. It deals with people in the very sort of rundown outskirts of Tokyo, and kind of how there's a certain catalyst and character in the film that kind of questions this and brings their whole kind of family unit or family disunit into question. And what I liked about the film was the way its kind of humanity was totally gut-wrenching. I think someone described Koreeda's style in a really interesting way, and he kind of said the film hugs you and hugs you and hugs you and then immediately kind of stabs you in the heart at the end. And that's kind of how I felt about Shoplifters. Like, the characters in the film are flawed, obviously by the title of the film. Two of them engage in kind of petty shoplifting of kinds, partly driven by their kind of desperation, but it's kind of also there's kind of an element of kind of like almost like bonding between the two characters that do it. It's the dad and one of the boys that they've kind of adopted, and you can tell in the opening scene that they've been doing it many times, and they kind of had fun doing it. And on the way back home they find this girl who's kind of looks very malnourished, almost like an orphan. So they kind of take her in, and this is the kind of beginning of the end for them, I guess. As soon as they make this decision, and the whole family is kind of, as I said, it's a unit, but it's a kind of disunit. It's a kind of amalgamation of people that together are trying to create a solid unit, but it's hanging by a thread, you know. It's very fragile. The older woman that they essentially need for her pension, which is the kind of the family's main source of income, she's obviously very old. The little boy isn't theirs, and as isn't the girl that they take in. So what really got me about the film was the way these are characters that of course we're supposed to care about and do care about. The film successfully does that. But these are also characters that are kind of straying the line between criminality and kind of poor desperation. So there's a really good line in the film where he says, it's not kidnapping if you don't demand a ransom, which is really interesting. Like, for what other reason would you take in and look after a kid? You know, how can you define taking in and looking after kids as a kidnapping? And the kind of morality of that, and the way kind of society judges them, but equally they judge society. Society's all right for the child to be an orphan, but as soon as someone takes them in, okay, they're the criminals. So it's obviously looking into the societal structure and societal characteristics of contemporary Japan. Obviously something I'm not too familiar with, but that's what I kind of took from it, and that's what I think it does really, really well. And the film is emotionally powerful in a way I haven't seen in a long time. Especially scenes towards the end, the final 30 minutes is a kind of emotional roller coaster, to use that overused term. But yeah, it's a stunning film. The cinematography is beautiful. It's a very kind of, as I said, I mentioned Ozu earlier. The camera is very much, it stays with characters for an uncomfortably long time. It kind of, there's shots, very close-up shots of characters, and you're thinking, please cut now, this is just too much. And like with Ozu, he overstays the sort of the threshold of what's comfortable for the viewer, and he keeps the camera static on the characters to really kind of rinse all the emotion that can be from these characters. It's an incredible film. There's not too much I want to talk about in terms of the storyline, so there's not too much more I can say on it, because it's one of those films where you just need to watch it. You just need to experience the emotions and let it unravel in front of you. And it will really make you question societal responsibility, morality, the way we look and treat people on the outskirts, and kind of motives of people in desperation as well, and how morality is blurred. So yeah, it's a stunning film, and one that I thoroughly recommend to watch. And as I said, I'm a big sort of flag waver of Japanese cinema as well, so if you have seen this, I recommend go and watch the films of Yasujiro Ozu, who he died in the 60s, so the bulk of his films are kind of the 30s, 40s and 50s, and he's made some of my favourite films of all time. And the reason why I continue to watch kind of social realist Japanese cinema. So yeah, thanks for watching guys, and I'll catch you later.